In this video, we're going to look at how to create a frequency histogram using Microsoft Excel. I'm going to use the same spreadsheet that I used in the previous video, so you can refer back to that one if you need to see how to set up these columns. So to create a frequency histogram, I'm going to start by highlighting the frequency column, not the total, just the frequency of each class. Then I'm going to go to Charts right here across the top, click on Column, and just choose the simplest one, and mine's called Clustered Column. And this will be our frequency histogram. Now we definitely need to work on the way it looks a little bit. I'm just stretching it out, just grab the corner and stretch it out. First, I'm going to use a more specific title. I'll just use number of students in a math class. Since that's what my original data was called. Then I need to work on what's on my x-axis here. You can see I have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. That actually doesn't mean much in the context of our data. What I really need down here is my midpoints. So if you'll click on one of the numbers, that will highlight your x-axis, and then you can do control click or right click and go to select data. Then here in this menu, I need to go down here to Category X-Axis Labels, click on that, and then highlight your midpoints. Okay, so starting here with my 13, I want to highlight that whole column. Okay, click OK. And then what you should see down here along your X-axis is the midpoint of each class. Okay, now I don't need this key, so I can delete that. Now I want to work on some axis labels. If you'll go here to Chart Layout, you can add some axis titles. Go to Horizontal Axis Title, put title below axis, and here I'm going to type in midpoints. Then I can go back to axis titles and get a vertical axis title. You can choose any of these that you want. I'll just choose the horizontal title so it's easy to read. And here I want to type in frequency, since this axis represents the frequency of each class. Okay, now the last thing to do to make this look like a histogram rather than just a bar graph is to close the gaps between the bars. So to do that, if you'll just double click on the bars, go up here to the first option under Format Data Series, click on Options, and then I want to make this gap width 0%, and that will close the gaps between the bars. You could also maybe put lines around the bars if you want to do that. You could just choose black, and that will outline my bars so you can tell the difference between them. Click OK, and then you have created your frequency histogram. Alright, also in this video we'll go ahead and do the frequency histogram, so let me just move this off to the side. And then I'll create my relative frequency histogram. So to do that, same idea, you'll go ahead and highlight your whole relative frequency column and go back to Charts, choose another column chart. This will be my relative frequency histogram. Again, we need to change what's on the x-axis, so that will be our next step. So click on your x-axis, and then control click or right click. Go to select data. Again, I'm going to go to Category X-Axis Labels here. Highlight my midpoints. Click OK. And now you can see that I have my midpoints on the x-axis again. Then I'm going to go through the same series of steps that I did for my frequency histogram. Just go ahead and delete the key. Maybe change your title if you want to, and then work on your axis labels. So go back to Chart Layout, Axis Labels, Horizontal Axis Title. This again will be my midpoints. Go to your vertical axis title, This time this will be my relative frequency. Double click on the bars. Again, we want no gap, so go to Options, Gap Width, 0%. And if you want to outline your bars, you can. It's not necessary, but you can. And then you can see when you look at these two histograms that the shape is the same. Really the only difference between these is what's measured on the y-axis. So in the first one we have frequency on the y-axis. In the second one we have relative frequency on the y-axis.